This is the M19BT Intelligent Digital Power Amplifier, and this was sent to me for the purpose of making videos about it, but no money was exchanged. Now, I've been using this device for a few days now, so I have my thoughts and also some caveats to mention. So hopefully this video is going to help you make an informed decision on whether or not to buy this amplifier. Now, starting with the fact that this is an amplifier, it is actually not a DAC, so do not expect to use this as an audio interface on your computer. You cannot connect this to USB or via USB to your computer or any device for that matter. It does, however, support Bluetooth connectivity, which we'll get into in a little while. Now, again, this is an amplifier, so it is meant to drive active speakers, or actually passive speakers, and you do have the connectivity in the back of the device for the passive speakers. But I did mention active speakers because you can also use active speakers with this. You can use the headphone port that's on the front of the device for you to connect your active speakers or headphones, whatever you may wish to connect there. As for inputs, this device has 4 different input methods. The first one being an RCA stereo, and it does have an included cable, which should mention the first caveat was that this cable that was included in the box for me was reversed in its left and right channels. So I plugged it correctly because it is color coded. You really cannot go wrong with the cable. So it really was the cable itself that was reversed for whatever reason. I tested another cable and I was able to confirm this. So I had my own RCA stereo cable, and that one, again, color coded, so it was fine. The cable that was included, worth mentioning, it had a reversed stereo signal. Not a big deal, really not a deal breaker. Just know that you know, if you're going to use this cable, you're going to have to test the left and right channels to see if they are correct. If not, then just switch the RCA port. It's as easy as that. Or if you have your own cable, then you might want to try your own cable as well. The other input methods are coaxial input, and it also has an optical input. And the fourth input method would be the Bluetooth that I mentioned at the beginning. Now, the Bluetooth is 5.3 in its protocol, so it's low energy, high efficiency, and it's supposed to have pretty good range. And in my testing, it was pretty standard, you know, pretty standard Bluetooth connection. You do notice a little bit of a delay, as with any Bluetooth connection whatsoever. So this is not really a device that's meant for gaming, even though it has an RGB, a pretty cool looking actually RGB ring around the knob, which, by the way, you can turn off in case you don't want to see it. If you press on the knob, you single press, then it's going to mute the device. And here is another very strange caveat. When you mute the device and you press on the knob again to unmute it, for some reason it unmutes in a very strange manner because the sound just doesn't hear right. It doesn't sound right. So I have found that the way, or the proper way to unmute the device is to simply like nudge the knob a little bit, you know, like you're going to adjust the volume, but you really just revert back to whatever position you had it in. That's going to unmute the device and it's going to sound just well. I mean, I'm not sure why unmuting it by just pressing the button doesn't work for whatever reason. I don't know if I got a lemon or if it's something that they really need to look into, but you know, it is what it is. And in fact, I almost forgot to mention that it does include a controller, and I did test the mute button on the controller and the same thing happens. When you press the mute, it mutes the device just fine, but when you unmute it, regardless if you're using the remote control or the knob itself, it simply doesn't really unmute. It kind of unmutes, but the sound is really strange and really low and kind of garbled, so to speak, or scratchy. I really don't know how to describe the way it unmutes, but it does work. If you, for example, either using the controller or the volume knob, just kind of adjust the volume for a second, it's going to unmute it and it's going to work fine in that regard. So a little bit annoying, I would have to say, but it still works. I mean, sometimes I like to have my, well, not sometimes, I actually always have my headphones and my speakers running at the same time. And when I want to take a call, I like to mute my speakers and just pick up my headphones. And this works just fine for that purpose. So I really appreciate that, and This is the way that I have been using this device. Now it does have a microphone input, and it's not a 3.5 millimeter, and it's obviously not obviously not an XLR input, so it's a 6 point something millimeter, so you know, the bigger type of input, and it goes straight into the speaker. So it's not like you're going to use it for gaming on your computer, because whatever microphone you plug in, that is not going to go back into your computer, because this again is not a DAC, it's just an amplifier. So this microphone input is useful if you want to play some like music with karaoke or something like that. So that's when you would use the mic input on this amplifier. I like to leave it on because it doesn't bother me, the color cycle. I haven't noticed any way of adjusting or setting a specific color. The ring does turn blue when it is muted. It's a kind of a strange choice of a color for muting the device, but you know, it is what it is again. But a really cool thing about it is that when you turn the knob to adjust the volume, there's a pink color. Again, choice of colors is really strange, but the ring lights up depending on the volume that you're setting. And it kind of tries to follow the indicator on the knob. So you set the volume to 50%, so to speak, so half of the ring is going to light up in pink color. Then it eventually reverts back to cycling all the colors in the RGB spectrum. There are other two smaller knobs as well, and these are for adjusting the treble and the bass. And the same thing with the RGB ring happens. It only has one RGB ring, which is around the volume knob, but when you adjust the bass or the treble, then a ring with a different color for each setting is going to light up, and again it's going to, you know, light up according to the percentage of the bass or the treble that you're setting. So a pretty cool effect. It's kind of useful because if you are not able to see the indicator of the knob at a distance, then you can just kind of wiggle whatever knob you need to change, and you can see through the RGB ring the indicator telling you what percentage of or what value of each knob it is turning at any given moment. So all in all, the device can be pretty useful, especially if you do need an amplifier to drive your active speakers. I guess this is the best scenario for you to use this device. In my case, I do have active speakers, so not much of a benefit for me, but it has been working just fine. And again, if you want to use your headphones, then you can pretty much drive almost any type of headphone with this unit as well. So yeah, this is the Daakro M19BT. I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, may God bless you all.